What is up, guys? It is Joe. We are back. We're talking all about the Cats, and in today's video, it's our weekly recap video discussing Kansas State's win over Arizona. The Wildcats putting a beatdown on their Wildcat counterpart. Number 14, Kansas State advances to number 12 in the AP poll this week. Number 13 in the AP poll this week after beating the 20th ranked team in the country. I'm going to provide my thoughts on the play calling, on the game plan, defense, a bunch of different topics in today's video. We make this type of video every single week, so I appreciate each and every one of you who has come back and watched it. It's been really cool to see the views on these type of videos continue to climb, so I do appreciate that, and I appreciate you taking the time to be here. Also, if you have a quick sec, if you want some more of this type of content, be sure and hit that subscribe button, as it does help me out immensely, and I'll love you forever if you do. But let me jump right in here. Now, I took an extra day here. Usually it's just the day after the game, so it would have been Saturday. I would have posted it. Obviously, the game finished up late. We were drinking. It was a celebration, so I didn't get it done that night. Saturday, I was going to record it, post it up Sunday morning. Truthfully, I needed an extra day to recap my thoughts on this game because I'd gone back and forth about what I wanted to discuss because there were 8,000 different topics that I wanted to toss out there. The first edition of the video, this is my second time recording it, it came off a little bit more accusatory in my sense, calling out different fans. I don't want it to be that way because that doesn't sound right. I want this to be an appreciation for what I saw because there's a lot of different ways you can take from this. You could talk about anything, but the main point I want to make in today's video, and I'll hammer this home a little bit further later, is this. With this game, I've seen reactions across the board. I've seen it as, this is a statement win for Kansas State. This is what puts Kansas State out on a national level. This is Kansas State football. And I've also seen this as, well, this is just Kansas State every day. This is the game they play every day. This isn't above and beyond. This isn't another, massive highlight for everybody in the team. This is another brick in the wall. I want to say this. Discredit both of those thoughts. The main important part here is that on a national scale, you have people talking about Kansas State football. Look at the social media reaction across the board. Dylan Edwards, with one of the loudest moments in the Bills' history in the last 2 decades, you have Dylan Edwards taking a massive punt return to the house, 71 yards to the crib. You see that flash he has every single time he touches the football, so on and so forth. The social media reaction to that, the outcry of people on social media being like, how do we let this kid go to Kansas State? What the heck's happening here? You have people upset that Kansas State's good. You have people pumped that Kansas State's good. You have recruits screaming, pumped up, everything across the board. You're getting a little bit of everything, and it's all due to the fact that Kansas State is doing what they're supposed to do under a guy like Chris Klieman, with a quarterback like Avery Johnson, with Dylan Edwards, DJ Giddens. This is a national moment for you. And I'm not going to sit here and say this is the peak version of what we can see, of what's to come, but this is such a great step in the right direction, and that's where I want to start this video. Now, specific thoughts on this, I want to start here. In this game, Avery Johnson was a beast. 266 all-purpose yards. He went out and ran for 120, threw for 156, something like that, or 110, ran for 110, threw for 156. Looked good. Looked, complete command of the offense, had great moments. Obviously, there's the blunder at the end of the first half. Both Avery and Chris Klieman have said, no, it's 100% on me. Other ones say, no, this is on me. I got to know the play clock. I agree. This is the thing I'm going to say. Avery Johnson is so good instinctively at football that you take the mistakes. I know you can be there and say, well, this can't happen. We can't have this happen again. We got lucky there. Folks, you won by 24 points against the 20th ranked team in the country. You can live with this mistake as long as it's a learning lesson. It's a tool in his pocket to take another step forward. Same thing with Chris Klieman. He said, you know what? I got to call the timeout. He learned a lesson there. Avery says, I got to know the play clock. He learned a lesson there. And you still escaped with a win. That's been the narrative of this non-conference schedule. If you can learn in good wins, that's the best spot. Because nobody wants to sit here and say, well, because we lost to Tulane or because we lost to Arizona, we're going to be so much better down the road. Let's be better down the road with wins. Don't worry about the win-loss thing. Just get 1-0 every single week. It's the Jerome Tang special. Chris Klieman's taken a piece out of that playbook. Let's go 1-0 every single week and continue to get better every single week. And on that topic, Avery Johnson has continued to get better every single week. Yeah, he misses throws occasionally. Yeah, he does some stuff. You're like, man, I wish he'd do this, this, this. This is a kid that's going to play instinctive football. The offense can scheme things up left and right for him, do different things. At the end of the day, how you're going to win football games is based on Avery Johnson's skill set, based on his intangibles, based on his ability, his instincts for the game of football. That's what's going to set Kansas State apart because nobody else has that. That's the difference. You can have a solid quarterback. You can have a solid running game. Avery Johnson is special. He is. That's why you see some of these cross-body, off-platform, beautiful throws. That's why you see some of the, hey, read option, I'm going to run for 40 yards in the time that it takes other guys to run 12 yards. And continuing on that topic a little further, I know that Connor Riley has been the subject of criticism. People have said, this guy stinks at play call, and this has been whatever. You have to give the man credit. This was a really, really solid offensive outing. All the outcries were there. Hey, Dylan Edwards needs the football more. He starts the game on the field with DJ Giddens, gets the football the first play of the game. I know we had 2 touches in the first half. I'm not the guy saying he has to have more carries every single game. I'd like him to have more carries, but I'm the guy saying he has to be on the field more. Give him some opportunities to be a decoy so you have no idea what the hell's going to happen when you have two NFL running backs on either side of Avery Johnson's flank and a guy that runs a 4-2 that will be a first-round quarterback. Leave all three out there. If Dylan doesn't get the ball here, he's still out there as a decoy, and you have to game plan him. Send him in motion. Send him across the formation. This is what you see with Connor Riley. So hats off to my guy Riles. He took the criticism. He understood it. Some stats to back it up. They only punted twice on the day. They were 17 of 13 on third down. That's a solid number. 1 of 1 on fourth down. And he had 21 first downs compared to Arizona's 16. This was a good offensive showing. I know there's people out there that are still going to say, well, I still hate his play call here and here. He's allowed to learn. This isn't a situation where you expect him to be perfect. And I know the reality is different than the opportunity. Like, you would love Connor Riley to sit there and be an offensive genius, never have to work on anything, never have to learn anything. You want him to be perfect at the gates. That's not the reality for anything. Avery Johnson, that's not the reality for. Each of these guys are going to continue to learn, the coaching staff, the players. So every single week as Avery Johnson gets better, as DJ Giddens gets better, as Dylan Edwards gets better, Connor Riley grows as a coach, understanding, hey, we look better when I do this, when we do this. What have we had success with in the past? The tight ends are balling right now. We'll talk about them a little bit later. I want this game to go down as a situation where it's, no, we didn't put up 50, no, we didn't put up 500 yards of total offense. But this was a good step in the right direction, and I am thrilled with it. If you can have a day that's not your 10 out of 10 football, and you still beat a top 20 team by 3 touchdowns, a team you were favored over by a touchdown, maybe 7.5 points at kickoff, that's a damn good thing. We shouldn't move past that. That is something incredible to see. So I want to give some flowers to Connor Riley, to Avery Johnson, to the guys in the backfield. They are learning to play football with this team every single week. And you're going to have some lows. You're going to have some highs. This was a good page. This is a good foundation tool moving forward. So I want to stake my claim kind of on that Connor Riley bandwagon, a little bit of, hey, give this guy the benefit of the doubt. Give him a sec, man. He's a first-year play caller. He's learning the same way these dudes are, and I think that's an okay thing. I know that can be a little sacrilegious right now to say, well, he didn't do this and this and this. None of us are coaches. That's why we're on the couch watching loving our team. We're not supposed to be out there calling the plays. As much as I love that, they're going to learn it. They're going to figure it out. Because if you and I are having this conversation of he didn't run the ball here, he didn't pass the ball here, Avery didn't have a chance, I promise you inside the building they're having these conversations. Connor Riley is going to be the first guy to admit, I messed up here. He's not a guy that's going to push it off. Like, it's not an external thing of like, oh crap, it was somebody else's fault. Well, if this guy did this or the O-line did this, it's not the case. The guy's going to learn every single week. So I wanted to talk about him before I move down this, because sometimes social media can be a little bit overreacting. That's the nature of the business. And it was definitely something during the game where I'm like, man, we are up by 3 touchdowns. Why are people complaining about play calling right now? This is A-okay. So something there. I just wanted to get that off my chest a little bit. Moving down the list. You learned your identity in this game. Chris Kleiman talked about it. We still don't know our identity. What kind of team are we going to be? Is Avery going to drop back and throw it a bunch? Are we going to go spread option, read option, whatever the case is? What are we going to do as a team to establish dominance over others? You found your identity. It is the power-heavy, power-run type situation where you have Dylan Edwards, DJ Giddens, and Avery Johnson in the backfield. Give Avery the benefit. Hey, you have to make the decision here. We're not going to tell you what to do. This is your option. You can have your first read lined up over here, but you have 2 backs that can make plays every single play they get the football. You can make a play every single time you get the football. Make the defense choose which one to eliminate, because you cannot eliminate all 3. You certainly can't eliminate 2. One at a time is how they go. Hey, we're going to load the box so Avery can't give it to DJ. All right, Dylan Edwards runs a 4-3. He's on the end around. Avery Johnson, same thing. Pulling it if you're crashing on the running backs. If you're waiting for me, I'm going to hand it off and let my guys cook. You learned your identity. Go play tough physical defense, which shout out to the defense real quick. I don't have a point on them, but Keenan Garber, you worked your tail off today, and I appreciate that. That was a huge bounce back from Tulane in week 2. This was a good game for him. T-Mac had the quietest 138 receiving yards I've ever seen in my life. That's a big deal. You keep the nation's best receiver out of the end zone with 11 catches. That's a big deal. I will take that every single day and twice on Sunday. Every day of the week, twice on Sunday. Another thing, and this may be stretching a little bit longer than usually on these videos, but the environment. Everybody knows the Bill is incredible. Every single person knows it's an incredible stadium with passionate fans. Some people saying that is the loudest Kansas State's football stadium has been since the early 90s. And there's some of those dominant teams that could have won a national title, like the 98 year. You have some of these teams that are just as loud as, hey, this is a Terrence Newman punt return touchdown. Dylan Edwards doing the same thing. That's beautiful to see. And it was a wake-up call for Arizona. There were reporters after the game saying that's the loudest stadium I've ever been to. There are people saying, hey, we're not in the Pac-12 anymore. The coaches said we couldn't hear anything the entire time. That's the difference. That's how we as fans can affect this game, and they absolutely played a massive part in winning this football game. The special teams, the pick, you see so many of these big moments where the crowd pop is unreal. That's a big deal, and I wanted to give props to everyone who was there, screaming their heads out. Also, the fellas with the proud of the house we built. painted on their chest. You guys killed it. If any of you are watching this video, shout out to you guys, man. You guys are the letters holding the team together here. Another guy I want to highlight, how about Braden Lofton continuing to show up in the stat sheet and make plays? Now, I was guilty on being really overhyped. Maybe not overhyped, but really excited for Garrett Oakley. We haven't seen much Oak. It sounded like he got banged up as well again in the Arizona game, but you have seen Will Swanson. You have seen Braden Lofton, a guy that, Chris Kleiman raved about, the tight end room, saying, hey, we're really deep at tight end. We can make the right plays. Avery's showing that he likes tight ends, man. Down in the red zone, that's something cool to see. You like to see multiple guys step up. Looks like we have a couple of different guys that'll do it, and I do expect Oak to get going as the season progresses. It's just a matter of who is up, who's ready for the shot right now. That's a big deal to see. So shout out to the guys in the tight end room, specifically our guy Braden Lofton, back in the end zone once again in week 3. And I want to cap it up by saying this. Read into this as much as you want. If you want to say we're the best team in the nation, sure. If you want to say that we're still not good enough to win the Big 12 title, sure. I am sitting here saying there is optimism. We made it through the non-con 3-0. Chris Kleiman doesn't do that all the time. We made it through with good tests, good lessons. We're moving on to BYU here. 3-0 teams squaring off at 9:30 p.m. That's going to be a late one. We'll see if I'm able to get the video done heading into Sunday. It's going to be super late, but I'm going to do my best. So the idea is that there is a ton of different storylines, a ton of different things to take away, but at the end of the day, this team continues to win. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time, but they're showing, hey, we're the team to beat. The Big 12 runs through Manhattan Kansas. It runs through Avery Johnson, Dylan Edwards, and DJ Giddens. This is the serious part we're in. So something to consider there. You got to love what we're seeing there. Obviously, there's things that you can split hairs and be like, well, still wasn't great here. Still have to do this, There is a lot of good things happening. Open your eyes to the good things as we continue to learn from the bad things. That's what Kansas State's doing. Who are we as a team? We're proving it to ourselves every week, and I expect that dominance to continue against BYU. I believe Kansas State opening as a 7.5-point favorite on the road in Provo. It's going to be a challenge no matter what. BYU's 3-0. They're a better team than they have been in years past. I do like Kansas State to get it done. I think the defense does carry their weight as well as the offense, giving some trouble up there up front to BYU's front seven. But guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I'm sure I'll have another video during this week. We'll talk about some different recruiting stuff and just some stuff happening at Kansas State. We'll talk about some different jersey options and different things going on there. But that's pretty much going to do it for today's video. Thank you all for the continued support on this video. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. We're going to continue to roll things out with this series as the season goes, so be sure and subscribe because you don't want to miss it. But I'm going to let you get out of here, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Go Cats!